friends, and welcome back. I'm Enterprise Architecture, and we're doing something we don't do very often on this channel. We are playing a brand new game. This is the demo of Modulus, a forthcoming game that is a little factory builder automation style game. If you're familiar with Shapez, it's very similar in play as how that game plays, but it's got its own little twist on things, and I think you all are really gonna like it. Now, I was not in any way compensated by Happy Volcano, the maker of this game, to talk about it. I just saw it and really loved it and thought you would love it too. So that's why we're playing it today. So with no further ado, let's dive right in and create a new game. First things first, we need to get some resources. So it's gonna walk us through here with a nice little tutorial of building our first miners. Again, if you've played any factory automation game in the last decade, you know how miners work. So our miners, we are mining up polyrock. That's what these things are. So we are going to take the polyrock and we are going to put it in a furnace. That's going to melt it down into something usable. But of course, we have to have our friends conveyor belts. You can't have a factory automation game without some sort of conveyor belt. That is what we have learned here. All right, so now things get interesting. Again, if you've played Shapez, you probably have an idea of what's coming, but we're going to take these polyrocks, which are these 4x4 cubes that get smelted, and we are going to slice them up, and we need to make different shapes out of them. So we're going to start by configuring this to cut them in half. Now, of course, you can rotate the blocks, but it doesn't really matter because this processed polyrock looks the same no matter which way we slice it. So we're going to go ahead and click configure, and now we are going to be outputting those slices. Now, this is what we are trying to build, these little mini walls. So we need to go and build an assembler, and then we need to run a belt into that assembler. So let's put one here and one here. Now, it's going to tell us that we should put a splitter down. So we're going to grab the splitter up, put it there, and that's going to take half the output of this machine and put half on each belt. So this machine here, we can see, is taking in 15 of these blocks per minute, which is exactly what the furnace is producing. And it's going to produce 30 per minute on this belt. The splitter will put 15 each into the assembler, and now we have these blocks to play with. So the two blocks that are coming in, whatever block we had put in, we'd get in this spot. And now it turns green when you connect these to tell you you have made something that is what you're trying to make, basically. So click configure. And now we've created this module, this wall module. Now it wants us to put down a crane right here. So we're going to listen to it and do that. And we are going to run a belt to that. And now this crane is going to drop off these blocks into our basic core facility. These are the modules that it accepts. And the first thing it's going to do is try and use those modules to start building up the actual machine itself. So we need to put this down here. There we go. Now it's happy. All right. So that's our first production line. We are going to copy that same production line using the copy command here. And we are going to build up to, I think up until this point, basically. Let's just start with the basic part and we'll work our way through it. There we go. All right. So now we have the foundry done. Let's ignore that. We need to make this block now. And it's very similar to what we were making the previous time through. So we can grab the copy function again and copy that same slicer. But now we need to slice what's coming out of this into more pieces. Let's grab a splitter because we've already determined that our cutter is going to do only 15 at a time. And we know that this is producing 30. So we're going to take this one here. And now this gets interesting. We still want to cut it in half, but we need to rotate it to make these long towers. So let's do that. And then we can do the same thing on this one, just like that. I could have copied and pasted the first one and that also would have worked, but now these are producing 30 each. And again, we are going to need to assemble these. But as we learned, our assembler is going to take 15 per minute on each belt. And these are producing 30. So we need to grab our splitter again. And we'll also do a reverse splitter. Now, I'm actually going to delete the second one just to save us a little bit of time and trouble, because we can take this, stack these like that, and there we go. That is done. Go back into copy mode, throw this down there, and now these are both coming out. And you know what? Even just to get even fancier with it, we're going to copy this, hit T to flip it, and now these are both coming out on this belt. And now all we have to do is run this into this factory. So let's click on the factory. We're going to add a crane on this side. There we go. And bring this in here. Wonderful. Now, I know something is going to be coming in the future here, so I'm actually going to move my crane on this side, get rid of these, get rid of this crane, and I'm just going to make sure that these blocks are going in this side here. That'll make it a little easier to scale up later. Great. Now, one of the things I love most about this game is these blocks that we've created are actually going in and being used to build the facility. So this additional section that's being built on top to complete it, you can see all of these blocks we're loading in are actually going to add to that. And when we click on it, we can see here, 6 of the 48 that we need are being loaded in right now. So slowly but surely, this is getting built up. If we want this to go a little faster, I can actually move this up here and I can start adding more cranes to it. So let's add there and there. That'll just start going through these additional blocks a little faster, and the rest of this will get built. And we'll come back in a few minutes and that will be done and look real neat. All right. So now we need to make a harvester pad for it. And this is a harvester pad. This allows us to use a drone to get resources that are finished out of that building and distribute them to other buildings. So I'm actually going to put that up around here. And I am going to then click on it and link this to this building. That'll add a drone port there. And now this will collect basic cores. Now I'm going to start clearing out a little bit of space here. There we go. And we can start using this to start building the next piece of this. So we need to go to our buildings tab here. Now the basic core facility this time was built for us. In the future, we're going to have to use this menu to build them. But we are going to do instead a basic bot assembly. So let's put this down, I don't know, over here. We need a little bit of room for that. And this will tell us that it needs these other items. This needs basically these white walls. And interestingly, it needs a black pillar. Now, we haven't seen how to make black pillars yet, but that's going to use this, the monotoner module. This changes a block from black to white or back. So what we need to do now is start mining up more resources so that we can work on these. Let's do the easy one first. These walls are really simple. Let's grab up our miners. We're going to throw these down here, 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 and here. And we'll just run a belt right down the middle of that. We don't need that piece there. Great. And these will go into a smelter. So let's see here. Here's our, a furnace. I'm going to get this terminology right by the time we finish playing this, hopefully, but I'm still used to certain other games that I'm not going to mention right now. All right. So the furnace is going to start pumping out those blocks 15 at a time. That needs to immediately go into a cutter. We're just going to snuggle that up as close as we can there. And this time we are going to tell it we want 1 wide slices. That'll give us 4 of those coming back out. That means this is producing 60 now. To actually do anything with those, we are going to have to use our splitters again, and we are going to double our splitters. So each of these belts now is going to be giving us 15. From those 15, we can now slap those into an assembler. We just need to rotate these around until they make sense. That makes sense. That matches what we're trying to build. And there we go. Now we have this module. We're going to use our copy command again. As soon as that clears out, there we go. Copy that, flip it, and now we have twice as many of those coming out. Back here at our main basic bot assembly, we need to add a crane like that, and that will be where we bring these blocks into. So let's go down and around like that. Great. Now, do note that there is not a build cost for anything in this game. And I actually kind of really love that after playing so many other factory games where everything is very expensive and takes a very long time to build. It's really nice to be back in a game where everything is effectively free. So that is wonderful. Although we will have to pay for our upgrades as we go. All right, so let's get another set of miners going, just like this. And we are going to start our next production chain. And this time we are going for this one, this tall black pillar. Now we basically already saw how to make that with this setup here, but we are going to make one small change to it and then copy the rest of this. So let's go ahead and add that small change first. That is going to be that we need to make black blocks first. Now the monotoner will make 15 at a time, and that is great for us. So Let's go ahead and put the furnace down. So this is taking in 60, again, 15 from each miner, putting out 15, and then that will go into a monotoner. The monotoner will be producing 15 as well. Now that's exactly what we need for the input to go into this, which builds the rest of our production line. So again, we can just literally copy and paste that, and then we come back up here, throw this down right onto there, and we are done. How easy was that? I love being able to just copy and paste our production lines. Let's slap this into place right here. There we go. And now our second ingredient is coming in. In the time we were doing that, you can see, well, there's the new module created, but this building is now complete. And just look how good all of this looks. We've got these neat little flags on here. We've got this square antenna dish up there, these nice little lights with these great little bloom effects. And look at these belts. Everything is so chunky and pixely, and I just love it. I just love pixely designs. It's just the best. Okay, great. So now we have our basic bot assembly. Now that I'm done waxing poetic about how great that is, we need to export stuff out of here. So we need to make ourselves another harvester pad, excuse me. And we're going to put that a little ways further down here. Now, there is a method to my madness here. I know that's far away from here, and that does mean that it's a 30-second round trip for our drones, but I think it'll be worth it to make things a little bit more efficient for dealing with belts later. All right, now we're done with the bot factory. We need to move on to our processing plant. This is a great one as well. Okay, let's put this down over here. I want to give ourselves a little bit of room, and we're going to do a little bit more deforestation just to get a little more space here. Let's go ahead and clear this out as well, and we'll take you there as well. We will be able to build more trees later. We'll unlock that feature, but for right now, we're not going to worry about it. Okay, so we are going to start gathering up some of these resources so that we can make those. Let's get our miners put down again. Let's see here. There's a miner. Can we fit a belt between here? We can fit a belt between here. I don't actually know how many resources can go on a belt at this point, but we will figure that out as we go. Let's put this here and this here and this here. Great. So now we have our resources all coming together. Let's bring a belt out this way, and we're going to have another belt coming out this way. Whoops, that did not take. There we go. Okay, so let's deal with this first belt to go into this factory. We're going to come over just a little bit here with it, I think. Let's put down our smelter first. I called it a smelter again. Put down our furnace first, and then we can clear out those blocks. We don't need that anymore. That will be producing our cubes for us. There we go, 1 cube. And now for this factory, let's take a look and see what it needs. This needs these. We need, these weird, long, skinny things. So basically a combination of the first two that we made. In addition, we also need to make this weird looking thing, this, I don't know, couch looking object. This one is a strange one. We'll come back to that later. It's a little bit harder than what we've done, but this one is easy. We can basically copy the same production chain that we have here with one little twist to it. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna copy again this whole section. Now, there are definitely more efficient ways to do this than what I am about to do, but I think this will work fine for us. Okay, so this is now producing each of the blocks we need to combine here, but in the interest of saving time, I'm just literally going to put down our monotoner there to turn these to black. And note that the monotoner does have 2 different ways it can be set. If you set it to white, it turns white. Set it to black, it turns black. Or technically, I guess that looks like it's green, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. It is now producing black versions of these cubes for us. That's what we want to see. We throw down our assembler here, right there, and this should be getting in both of those. Yes, it is. And now we can just throw these down. You can put them in any direction you want. It doesn't seem to matter. It just needs to know that these are connected, configured. There is the module that we need. And now we can run this into our plant. So let's add a crane here for importing, just like that. And now we should be able to bring us down those blocks into here. It needs to come right there. Perfect. All right. So that's half of this. That went really quick for us. Let's work on the other half with this belt. Now, this one is a little bit more tricky. So we are going to have to be a little bit more thoughtful in how we make this. Let's go ahead and grab up our furnace. I got it right that time. We are going to put this down right here. Let's just make sure that's going the right way. It is. Wonderful. And now the blocks that are coming out of here, I'm going to want to slice immediately. So let's go ahead and do that. Pull it out of here. And I think, we've got plenty of room here. We could just go ahead and put the slicer right next to it. The cutter, see, I'm still getting it wrong. The cutter right here, just like that, configured. Okay, great. So now we are getting those out. Now, looking at the count of the blocks here, right? So we have basically one large black chunk here, one large black chunk here, one smaller black chunk here, and one smaller white chunk there, right? So we are going to use our splitters liberally here to be able to deal with this. So we are getting out 60 per minute, and that means we need to do a couple of splits. So let's put a splitter here, and that's actually not where I want that because it's going to run into this thing if I leave it there. So let's remove that. Let's actually do the splitter going the other side, just like that. And now we're going to split this here, and we're going to split this here. Great. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take some of these blocks and monotone them. So half of these, we are going to want to turn black to match this section. The other ones that we've got here, we are going to want to cut again. So we put our cutters down here and here. So this time we're going to rotate like this. And that looks vaguely like the shape of this if you only take half of it. So just think about half of it for now. Configure that for that. This one, we are going to do exactly the same thing. Great. So now we are getting all of these blocks out, and these should be producing 30 per minute on each of these sides, and these should be producing 15 per minute on these sides because these are still the full pieces. So basically every time you cut something in half, you're doubling it. All right, so to get these where they need to go, we need to start getting a little bit creative here. We're going to come back to dealing with these monotone, these black pieces here that we've got. Right now, let's deal with these white and black pieces. So what we are going to want to do here is split these again when they're coming out because we need to monotone an entire half of these. So let's grab back up our splitter here. Give me that. Split it this way. And these we are now going to monotone as well. Let's go ahead and put the monotoner here and here. So this is now producing monotone black blocks on this side. And now we need to join those back up with the white blocks that we were making. And this is where things start to get a little interesting here. So for right now, I'm going to merge these belts together. And I'm just going to drag this out of the way because we're going to come back to that. The white ones that we have here, we are going to have to use some clever belt routing logistics to be able to get them to go where we want them to go. And so for this, we get to finally start using our tunnels. So tunnels work just as they do in Factorio. Basically, you can have belts that go under other belts. And that is how we're going to get things where we need them. So this, we are going to pull over to right here. We are going to put another set of tunnels right here. And now we are also going to grab a splitter and put it right here. And then we connect these up just like that. All right. And then the last thing we need to do is basically bring this belt to, well, we're going to leave that because we need it to auto connect, and we're going to do that in a second. But we are going to start assembling these pieces. So let's grab our assembler. And again, we are running out of room. So let's get this carefully put in place here. I should have gone the other direction with it. Let's route this last belt in here. And actually, we are going to take out this one for now because all we need to do is make sure that we get the right pattern first. So that is the bottom piece of this. And then we take this one and flip it like that. That gives us the front piece of that little sled looking, couch looking thing. Great. And now that we have that, I can copy this, flip it, and now we are getting both of those pieces out here. Now we have to do is start connecting these pieces up to these pieces here. So we need to bring this down all the way like this. And now we need to clear ourselves out just a little bit more space so that we can do the same logistics jog that we just saw over there. So let's start planning for that just a little bit here. We will need to use our splitter again. So let's grab up our splitter just like this. And we're going to bring this one over. And then we are going to connect these through here. So let's grab up our tunnels again. Right through here and right through here. And then we just need to squeeze a splitter in right back here. Perfect. Okay, great. So that will go in there. This will go in here. And now we can start assembling these blocks. So the blocks that we made first and the second blocks. Let's see if we can squeeze this here. There we go. There's the bottom of our sleigh looking couch thing. There's the top of it. There we go. That's glued together now. And we are really running out of room, but we can squeeze just in this last part here. Put this here, put that there. Done. And now all that's left, we just need to glue those together into a double wide block. So grab this one, rotate that one. There we go. That's the piece that we needed. And now with no room left to spare, we can go ahead, add our crane in here, and we will bring in these onto a belt just like that. Oof, that was tight. I almost ran out of room, but it definitely all suddenly fit in there at the last minute. And I feel pretty good about that. Excellent. Now, here's where things get a little bit more tricky. We need to add these gray cores in for both bots, which we're creating here. And we also need gray cores for our processing plant. So all the way back over here, we've been making these cores and they should be in here. Yeah, we've got 10 basic cores. So we need to put these basic cores into these buildings so that they can then be used to produce our other ingredients. So let's start with this one. We're going to add a crane to this right here. And we are going to grab up our tunnels again so that we can go over this production line just like that. That is not where I wanted that. Let's go ahead and delete that. Try that one more time, just like this. And then the tunnel goes through here. Bring that back around. And now we need a splitter coming out of here. So let's go ahead and flip that around. There we go. And now our cores will be going in there. So there they come. And now we will start making bots. Now, any moment now, this should start going in there. We will get our next quest out of that. And I'm relatively certain that half of these will also have to go into here. But first things first, deliver the bots to the delivery dock. This is our delivery dock. It accepts all of the various items that we are going to be producing here. So we're just going to run a belt right up there and into it. And any moment now, we should start getting our first bots out of there. You can see this is a package being delivered. It should go all the way down here to this facility, and that will export our bots into our delivery dock. We're going to zoom in here real quick so that we can see those cute little robots that we have been producing. What a good job we have done on those. They look ready for whatever it is that the robots are going to be used for. I have no idea at this point. I haven't gotten that far in the game, but there we go. Rank up and we have completed basic bots. Now, as we go through the game, we are going to have more and more things that we need to do. So here's the basic stuff that we've been making. Here are our delivery targets. We need to deliver 60 basic bots to get to level 2. So that's what we are aiming for next. Oh, just look at how cool these buildings are. Everything just looks so nice in this game. Everything sounds so good. The ambient music in the background, just a delight. Okay, so there's that. We are now ready to buy an island. Now, in this day and age, I know that it's a little dodgy owning your own private island. There's a lot of things going on in the news about that, but we're not here to talk about that. This is a private island that we are going to buy for our production facility only. So I'm buying this island. There's a few others around here that you can look at, but I want this one mainly because it has our blue crystals, the blue hexacrystals to be precise, and it's also got oil on it. Those are going to be very important in the future, but for right now, we aren't going to worry about that at this exact moment. So that's the one that we have bought. So back over here at our main base, we need to do a few more things. We need to build a second core facility. So what we are going to do is we're going to copy that and we are going to paste another one down right here as close to it as we can. We are going to do one little thing here, and that is we're going to remove these cranes and these cranes, and then we're going to add our belts back over here. Great. Now, we do need to increase our production to be able to keep up with this. We also are going to run our belts up here. There we go. So we can do this in a variety of different ways. Well, technically there's two really good ways to do this. So we are going to copy and paste this production line here, and we're just going to snuggle it up right next to the other one. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the bottom, just like this, snuggle it up right here as close as we can get it. There we go. And now those production lines are ready to go. We are going to grab more of our lovely poly rock here and then route it up to these new smelters, these new furnaces. Sorry. Furnaces. Great. There we go. So we need to put down some more miners. Let's do that real quick. We kind of need to snake this up and around a little bit. So we don't have to be too particular about it. Let's just do something like this. And, you know, this isn't the most elegant thing I've ever designed, but, you know, it'll work for now. There we go. And now we just need to bring this all the way back up here and rotate around here and make sure that we're going into the right furnace. There we go. That one is working. And then we'll just repeat the process for this one here. So let's throw down a few more of our miners. There, and we'll put this one here. This can go out this way. This can go up this way. And then we just jog this over this way. Great. Okay, perfect. So that will be going into that furnace. That will go into this system. And basically we've just doubled our production there. No problem. Now we can run this straight into this other belt if we want, but it looks like this is actually starting to back up. That's probably a good thing for now because we're using twice as many. So we're just going to go ahead and go with that. Again, we're not really being particular at this point. Now, I believe that these cranes are actually slow enough that if it grabs one out of there, it will ignore the second one. So I think that's going to be the case here too. Yeah, and this is already backed up considerably. So that's what's going on there. So these are basically keeping up now without too much trouble. We do need to go back to our core facility here, this harvester pad. We're going to link this second drone here. I think there's 2 drones on this, 4 altogether, but it looks like we can only assign 2 drones right now. Don't know why that is. Not worried about it. We are going to finish off this core facility, and then we will get credit for that. Great. Now, we need to move on to our processing plant getting cores as well. So let's add yet another crane. In this case, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it on this side. That's going to be fine for now. And we are going to come out the other side of this splitter that we had set up. We're going to put another route in here, and we're just going to go in like that. Not elegant, but it will do. So half our cores are now going to go into the processing plant. The processing plant will then need to have a harvester pad of its own, which it does not have yet. So let's build one of those for it real quick. I'm going to go back just a little bit here. I think that should give us enough room for what I want to do. And now we just need to connect these up. Again, there we go. Drone linkage done. And the processing plant makes gray processors. We need to use a data center to convert those processors. Now, again, I know that there's some concerns with people having data centers built in their backyard right now. That is not a topic for this video, but we are going to build some data centers right here. These data centers will allow us to make data shards. I can put this right on the edge of this, even though this says that it takes 2 inputs. Data shards, we don't need to have 2 items for. We're going to run this down like this and then into this facility here. And then we will get data shards. Now, data shards are very important because they're basically the currency we are going to use to unlock everything in the game. So the gray data shards that we're making right now are the basic tier. If you look at the very top of the screen, you can see there's also a blue and a yellow and a gold ticket. I don't know what's going on with the gold ticket at all, but this now unlocks the tech tree for us. So click proceed. We can go up here and now we have our tech tree. We've done all of this stuff that's already unlocked for us. That's where we started the game. We need to go down here and we are going to unlock this. This is our first major upgrade. This gives us a second floor on our gray buildings. There we go. So each of these can now be upgraded, and that will increase our production on each of them. So using the same amount of inputs, this building, for instance, will, if I upgrade it, start producing 4 gray processors at a time. Now, we'll do that one last. Let's work on these other basic core facilities instead. Let's upgrade this one first, and then we're going to upgrade this one as well. In just a second, we should be getting more gray processors in here, and then we can work on the rest of these buildings. This one requires 2. This one also requires 3. Now, while these are being upgraded, it's really important to note that they cease production. So basically, these are using all of the resources we're giving them to do the upgrade. And again, it's using those blocks to build these in real time out of the things that we're feeding the factory. So these will slowly build themselves up with those ingredients. And once they're done, they will then start making cores again. But in the meantime, all of those resources are being consumed to build the building up. Now, I both like and think that maybe I don't like the fact that these use exactly the same resources as the ones that you're actually making the building with. I kind of feel like if you upgrade them, maybe it should use like an extra ingredient, but I'm not going to complain at this point because our production is not very far along. I actually kind of love the fact that I can just literally use the same production lines I've already got, and this just automatically upgrades. But I'm assuming that some point in the future, that will probably change. That just seems a little too easy. Okay, so these are now making the upgraded versions of things in just a moment, which means my production will go up, and then hopefully we can be keeping up pretty well with this. Let's see here. How many of these? We have 2 more gray data shards, so we may as well go ahead and upgrade our robots while we are at it. There we go. And so we'll need 3 more after that to be able to get the basic processing plant upgraded. But of course, we can't do that until we are finished with these core facilities. So let's hang out for a minute and wait for these to finish. All right, let things run for a few minutes. Now we can finally upgrade this processing plant. The other 2 are done. So that's going to be upgraded. Now we need to go and unlock one more thing here in the tech tree, and that is going to be the blue refinery. So let's unlock that. There we go. Now we can make blue pigment. And again, that's why we got these blue crystals over here. While we're talking about it, one thing I didn't show is the skyline. This is really cool. It's basically an aerial tramway just for your various ingredients. So you can put your belts into here just like you normally would, and then they will go across this tramway and be on the other island. So that's how we connect multiple islands together. No more flinging things with catapults or shooting things out of cannons. No, no, no. We have a more civilized way of dealing with it. Skylines are how we do that. So those are super cool. I really love the look of those. All right. So what we're seeing here right now is that our deliveries are capped because we're in the demo version. So basically all the extra bots are just getting thrown immediately into the trash as if this was Portal or something else. So those are just being destroyed, but that's fine. We're just going to wait here and the processing plant will be done momentarily. So I've leapt over into my previous save game, the one where I tried out the game for the first time, because I want to show off this one important feature, the efficiency view. This is an amazing little thing. If we click the H button, or if we click this button up here, we get to see this view, and this shows us whether or not machines are being used at optimal efficiency. So over here, we can see that our furnaces are only yellow because they're operating at half efficiency, because I'm splitting the miners into 2 separate belts. So each of these is only getting 30 in at a time, so they're yellow. Similarly, we have problems here with our cutters, because our cutters, I believe, are getting a different number in that they are expecting probably 7.5, and all so forth and so on, all the way through our production line. So this gives us a really quick at-a-glance view to know when we have problems with our production. Now, there's a mod for Satisfactory that does the very same thing that's worth checking out, but that's a different story. Most games don't have anything like this. We do also have counters we can put on our belts so we can see the numeric impact of what things are doing, whether or not we're at maximum capacity or whatnot. But this at-a-glance view to see where the problems are is really a delight. It reminds me of like old SimCity in a lot of ways to say, oh, you've got crime problems over here or whatever it happens to be. But in this case, it's just where are your production lines not as efficient as they could be. And yeah, this is a wonderful feature. This is life-changing right here. Absolutely love it. So that's Modulus in a nutshell. You can pick it up right now on Steam and try out the demo for absolute free. Do make sure to add it to your wishlist if you like it. That'll let the devs know that people are loving the game and that they should continue to make excellent progress on it. Drop by the Discord, give them some advice on what you think could be improved or what needs to be changed in the balance. But personally, I am loving this. There is a lot of content here already in the demo. There's a lot coming in the full game from what we saw in that tech tree, and I'm really excited to play more of this. But for now, that's the end of this episode. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.